Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I've got another quick tutorial where we're going to be looking at creating this hover effect for our links. See, it's kind of like this cool 3D hover effect. We're going to be using JavaScript just to kind of clone the text and then use like CSS transformations and stagger them because there's a slight delay for each letter. We're also going to be implementing CSS counters as well to get these numbers next to our links. I think it looks quite classy. So yeah, you can see, I really like this 3D rotation effect. So yeah, let's jump straight into it, guys. Thanks. Okay, so to get started, I've got an index.html file, a style.css file, and an app.js file. We'll come into index.html first, get some boilerplate code up and running with the emmet, exclamation mark, and then I'm just going to link to our style.css in the header, so style.css, and then we'll just do the script source tag to our app.js file in the bottom of the body. Okay, and then coming to the body, I'm just going to have a nav section here with a class of menu, and then within here we'll have an anchor tag with a class of menu-item, like so, and then I'm just going to do the href to a pound symbol so it doesn't actually link to anywhere. And then within this anchor tag we're going to have a div, and then within this div we're going to have a span with a class of menu-item-text. Okay, and then I'm just going to use some just random Latin words I found online. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this menu item down 6 times. That first word is in bar I've used. Let's just copy that down 5 times to get 6 links. 3, 4, 5. And then, so for the second one, the word I'll use is apricus. And then the third one, we'll say, it's quite a long one, we'll say crepusculum. Like so. Again, I don't know what these words mean. Just found some Latin words online. Use whatever word you want. Next one is omnia. And then finally we got perennius. So we'll say perennius. And then also the last one we'll just say aurora. Like so. Okay, so let's just open this in live server so we can see what we're working with here. And you can see there's our links. That's looking great. And that's it for our index.html file. Okay, so not too much code there. Let's just go into our style.css now. And the first one I'll do here is just say margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing of border box. And that just gets rid of all those default margins and paddings, okay? And that's in the kind of star selector, which selects all elements on the page. Now, underneath this, next thing I want to do here is we're going to say, let me just get a font quickly actually. We'll say Play Fair Display font from Google Fonts. Okay, and then I'm just going to copy this regular one. And we'll just copy that link section for our HTML. I'll put that in the header, like so. And then also we're just going to get that style there, that CSS style in, and then we'll just come in here. And I'll just paste that in our global settings as well, like so. And now you can see we've got that nice fair play font displayed. I also just want to set text decoration to none, just to remove those underlining from the links. So we'll just say none, and now you can see the underlines have gone. So now underneath this, I'm going to set the HTML on the body, and I'm just going to set the background color to black. We use 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then I'll just set the actually I'll come up here, I'm just going to say I'm going to just grab all of our links. I'm just going to set the color of our links to white, so say hashtag FFFFFF. Now we have the nice white links. Okay, so now underneath this, next one I want to select is the menu, so the menu section, say menu here, and I'm just going to say position absolute, we'll say top 0, left 0, and then we'll just give it a width of 100% to fill the screen horizontally, and then I'm going to give it a height of 85 viewport heights. Okay, so 85% of the screen vertically, and then so just to show you that, set the background color to red, and there's our menu section area. So we've got that kind of back bit of white space at the bottom of the page there. Okay, so now underneath this, I want to just say display flex. Okay, just want to kind of position our nav or our links, space them out evenly vertically. Okay, so if I display a flex for now, you'll see the links moved next to each other. So we need to change the direction of the flex box. We'll just set that to column, so they appear underneath each other again. And I'm going to say align items, we'll align them center. Okay, so they're nice and centered now. And then I'm just going to justify the content to space around. And that will space all of our links out kind of evenly within that area. Okay, and then at the moment we can kind of highlight the text. We don't really want that for our links. Okay, so to get rid of that, we'll just say user select of none. And now I can't highlight the text anymore. So that's kind of good for user experience. And then we're going to set a counter here, okay? Just so we're going to be adding like kind of small numbers next to our link. I think it looks quite classy. I've seen it on multiple websites. So what we're going to do that, we can use this counter reset. And we're going to set a counter called menu counter, okay? And we'll adjust this later. So now underneath this, I'm next going to select all of our menu items. So I'll say menu item. I just want to remove that red background as well because that looks pretty horrible. Okay, so menu item. And then here I'm just going to say position. We want to position them all relative. Okay. And then I'm just going to say here text transform. Oh, I've got my semicolon. So text transform. And I'll just set that to uppercase. So now we have all capital letters. And then I just want to set the cursor to pointer. Okay, so we have a nice pointer now. And then that's pretty much it. Next thing we want to do here is let's get the numbers implemented now. So to do that, we're going to use the menu-item, and then we're going to use the before pseudo class, okay? And then what we say here, we're just going to say counter increment, and then we want to increment that menu counter for each of our links, okay? So say menu counter, like so. And then next thing we want to do is just specify the content, and we're going to use the CSS counters function, okay? And then that takes in the first argument, which is the counter we want to adjust, so say counter. And then the second argument is just a random string. There's no real need for this, to be honest. I'll just put that in there. And then the third argument is a type of increment we want to use, and for this we just want to use the decimal leading 0 increment. Okay, and now you can see we have some numbers appear. Okay, so that looks good, and this leading 0 just puts the 0 before the numbers. Okay, so now underneath this, next thing I want to do here is want to position this absolute. And then I'm going to say left of minus 15 pixels, like so, just so they appear next to each other. And then we'll just say top of 0. And then I just want to adjust the font size for these as well. So I'm going to say font size of 10 pixels to make it small. And there you go, we have our kind of numbers next to our links. I think that looks quite cool. Okay, so now underneath this, next thing I want to do here is I'm just going to next go to our menu item text, so the actual kind of text within these span or these divs. So to do that, let's come under here, we'll just say dot menu hyphen item hyphen text. And here I'm just going to set the pointer events to none, just so the user can't kind of perform any clicking actions on them. And then we're going to display these in block, and these are going to be kind of span. This is a span, so we need to display this with block so we can apply CSS transformations to the span. Okay, I'll specify the line height to be 1, just so it matches the font size, the containing font size. And then we'll position these relative, and then I'm just going to specify the font size as well. The font size will be, we'll say 2 rem. Okay, just get nice big links there. Now, what I want to do here as well, so kind of underneath here, we're just going to say, actually, yeah, we'll just, okay, yeah, so what we're going to do here, so we're going to be creating basically clone divs. So this, you'll see this div here, these divs within our anchor elements. We're going to be cloning these with JavaScript, okay, when we get to the JavaScript section. So the first one I do here, we're just going to say menu item, dot menu item, and then we want to target, so the first div child, okay, so we use an arrow here, then we target the div, and then we say env child, the first one, okay, so the first child, and then we want to target the inner span elements within that first div child, okay? And then we're going to specify, we're just going to say we'll change transform, and this will just optimize the browser to perform these transformations. And then I'm going to say transform style here, okay? So we'll say transform style, and we want to preserve 3D because this effect is kind of like a 3D effect, okay? And then I'm going to say transition, we'll say 0.5 seconds, and then we're going to say transition delay next. Okay, and then here we can just say we're going to use the CSS calc function. I'm going to do 0.05 seconds, and then we're going to be passing a variable called index from the Java using JavaScript. Okay, so we're going to set an index variable on each of our span elements. So each individual letter will be contained within a span element, and we're going to use JavaScript to apply an index number to these individual span elements. And then this will be passed through to our CSS, and we'll apply this delay, this CSS calc function. So it'll be, so this first one will be 0, 1, 2, and that'll be 0.505 times 1 times 2, and it'll give it the slight delay for each of our letters within our links, okay, to give it a cool kind of rotation effect. So now I'm just going to specify for the first div, we need to specify the transform origin next. And we want the origin has to make this effect work, we have to specify that as the bottom, okay, so that's the first div. And then we'll just set the display to inline block. Okay, and again, that's just so we can apply these transformations. Now, underneath this, I'm just going to get a similar thing for our second div. This is going to be the cloned div that we're going to be cloning with JavaScript. Again, we want to set all these kind of settings the same, really. Transform origin top, but yeah, the transform origin now has got to be top. Okay, so change that to top, and then what we want to do next is I'm just going to say. So I just need to think about this for a second. We want the transition to later to still be the same. Transform origin top, display inline block. We just want to transform this initially, okay? So I'm going to just say transform here, and then we're going to translate 3D. And on the x-axis, we don't want to translate at all. And then on the y-axis, we want to just go minus 100%, okay? Because we don't want this to be in the kind of view when we load the page. It's only when we hover, we want to apply subsequent transformations. And then I'm going to set it to 0. And then we also just need to say rotate x. And the angle here is we're going to say minus 90 deg, like so. Okay, so that's it for our second child. We're nearly done with the CSS, guys. Just got 3 more things left to do. So now we're just going to say dot menu item, and then when we hover our menu items, and then when we hover, we're going to, for the first div, we'll say nth child 1 again. What we want to do here, and also we need to just select the span elements within that div. So say span. We just want to say transform, and we're just going to say translate 3D again. We'll say 0, and we'll set to minus 100%, and then for the z-axis we'll say 0, and then we'll just say rotate x, and we're just going to say minus 90 degrees. We'll copy this down for the second div, and here we just want to change this 100 to 0, so we bring it into the viewport, and then we'll just say rotate x of 0 degrees. Okay, and I think that's pretty much it. I just want to just set the span, and we'll just set the font size of this to 2 rem. Okay, because we're going to be using JavaScript to create individual spans for all these letters. That's it for our CSS. Let's move to our JavaScript now. Okay, so we're not getting any kind of effect on that. You can see when we hover, we get a kind of rotation, but we're not getting the other one coming because we haven't created the clone node yet. Okay, so let's do that now. If we come to our JavaScript, what we're going to do here, we're just going to first grab all of our menu items. So I'll say const menu items equals, we use the spread operator here. I'll say documents, query selector all, and then I'll just say dot menu item. Okay, that will give us all our menu items, and then we're going to just go menu items, going to use a for each method here, and for each item, we're just going to say, we're going to first just get the word, okay, and we're going to just split it into an array, okay, so we say let word equal, we get the item, so just to show you, we'll just say console.log item. If we go to our console here, you'll see we have our links there. So what we need to target here is the first child, and then the child of the first child, so the nested child, okay, to get to this span, because we want to get the text within this span. So to do that, we're just going to say let word equal item, and we're going to say dot children, and then we want to target the first child, so 0, and then we want to get the nested child, so we'll say children 0 again, and then we're just going to say dot inner text, okay, and then we're just going to say dot split, and this split function, we just want to split it up by each letter. Okay, so now if we console.log word, you should see we get an array of each of our links. We have that omnia, you can see this split, the letters are each split into their own kind of element within the array. Same for each of our links, okay? So we have the word split now. Let's just delete these console logs, we don't need them. Now what we're going to do here next, we're just going to say, we're going to get, we'll say item dot children 0, and we're just going to set the inner.html to be blank, okay? So that just removes all of our kind of letters, okay? And then what we're going to do after that is we're going to replace this with, so we're going to get our word array, we're going to say for each, okay? And then we're going to target each individual letter next, so word for each letter. And we also just need to pass in the index here as well. And then I'm just going to say here, so within this function, we're just going to say item dot children 0 again. So we wanted to get that this section we just deleted the inner HTML from, and then we're going to set the inner HTML to equal. We're going to use backticks here. We want to add a span, okay, and then we're going to specify a style property here, okay, and that's going to equal, and we're going to pass in that index variable. Remember we set that index here for the CSS. This is what we're doing now. We're setting this index variable. So index, and we're just going to say that equals, so index, and that's going to use some a template literal here, and we're going to just pass in that index that we pass in with this for each, okay, and then that's pretty much it. And then what we want to do here, we'll just close that down, that section. So you put a semicolon in there and then just close that style section off. And then we do an arrow to initialize the kind of span tag. And then after that, we're just going to say we want to add, so do another template literal here, the letter that we pass in, so the individual letter. Okay, and then we just need to close off the span tag. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So now you see, okay, so we've got the we only got the kind of first letters for now. So now what we need to do, and that should be plus equals. Sorry, that's why. Okay, yeah, so plus equals. Okay, so now you can see we get a kind of delayed effect when we hover our links. See that? So it's slightly delayed for each letter. So that's what that's doing. Okay, because we're passing that index through. Now what we want to do is we're going to create a clone, okay, because we want to see a clone come up from the bottom. So we'll just say let clone div equal, and we're going to say item dot children 0, and then we're just going to say dot clone node, and we're going to say true, okay, and this true will just copy all the child elements for this child section as well, okay. And then what we want to do with this clone div, we're just going to set the style next. We'll say clone div dot style dot position. Let's just be style dot position equals absolute, like so. We want to position this absolute. should be a dot as well. And then we're just going to say clone div dot style dot left equals 0. And the same for the top as well. We'll just change that left to top. And then what we want to do is just finally just append this clone div. So we'll just say item dot append child, and then we'll just append that clone div. And now it should be working. Okay, so it doesn't look like it's working properly there. We probably just need to change some CSS settings, so bear with me a second. Did we change the transform origin, top, bottom? Okay, so why is that not working? What I think we might need to do here. Let's try this. If we come above, yeah, I just want to select our menu item. We'll come under here. I'll just say dot menu hyphen item, and I'm just going to say here we want to select the div. So for each div, and what I'm going to say here is we'll set a perspective to 1000 pixels. This will just give us a kind of 3D perspective. So transform style, preserve 3D, and then I'll also specify the overflow to be hidden. Okay, so still not quite working. So position absolute, clone div. I think it might be something to do with maybe it's got to be this. Change that to 100, not minus 100. Okay, yeah, that's more like it. Now, let me just delete that. I don't think we do need that. That's better, yeah. Okay, so yeah, now we got that cool effect. So yeah, just change that. That was yeah, I had this this 2. That was minus 100, so it should be 100, not minus 100. Okay, so there you have it, guys. There's that cool kind of hover effect. I've seen this on quite a few sites and I really like it. I think, font does play a massive part of this effect as well. It's important that you have a really good font. I like this Fair Play display, but there's, for example, if I show you one, this is one of my favourite fonts at the moment, which I purchased online. I'm a really big fan of typography, so if I just show you how this looks, I'll just say the font face here, and I'll specify this as a Roman font. That's what it's called, Antica Roman. We'll just point it towards that WAF2 file. We'll say format WAF2, and then I just want to just say this is Roman here. And we get a nice kind of Roman font applied, which I really like. So yeah, there you go, guys. There you have it. There's that kind of cool hover effect link. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Any comments or questions, give me a comment below and I'll try my best to answer. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Cheers.